What's up, family? It's your boy JoBar Eliezer Qandu, aka YHWH, the spark that sets the world on fire. I hope everyone is feeling well today. I got a couple hot topics. Man, do I. I had a couple brothers ask me when am I going to do my next video. So I'm going to do this video today. I have a big concern and an issue with how we as human beings, how bad we treat each other. And I think the older you get, the wiser you are supposed to become, the more empathetic to the human race, to those around you, and not so much as becoming a person that separates people or wants to keep people separate, but you become more of a person to unify the race. Right? Not just black people, not just white people, but the human race collectively. And it just bothers me how I see so much racism, how I see so much greed, and how other human beings that are helping those are in power, that are helping the Antichrist spirit destroy us. I mean, let's take for instance the business of real estate and realty, and how, because I live in the hood, right? And I was living in these apartments, and I was there for maybe about 2.5, maybe 3 years. So another mortgage company came in, or a property management company came in, bought the property, and what they want to do is they want to come in and say they want to renovate and do all of this and make it better and then raise your rent. Because at the time I was only paying $370 a month. They wanted to come in and double my rent, right? So they wanted $650 for those apartments that they were going to renovate. They had all these empty apartments, right? But they was so concerned about getting everybody out. Even the people that's been there for years paying their rent, they want to get you out so they can make their money, right? Or they want to offer you a new renovated apartment. And as I watched them renovate these apartments, they didn't do none of the things that they said they were going to do. They said they were going to gut the apartments and refurbish them and everything, right? They didn't do none of that. They patchwork sheetrock here and there, did a new paint job. They may have brought in new cabinets and stuff like new toilets and stoves and appliances and stuff like that, and laid down the little cheap wood floors that they put in everything nowadays that's supposed to be wood, but it's fake, you know what I'm saying? Slippery, thin, and then want to double, triple your rent. Or look at the housing market right now, where it's so expensive, you can't even buy a house. You can't rent. I was just talking to my homeboy the other day, and I've always talked to people about this, like the gentrification of what's happening in Philadelphia right now, and has been happening for the past couple years, maybe at least 10 years or more. Yeah, maybe 20 years. When it started, I foreseen it, right? because they were moving all the people out of the county. All the white people started leaving out of the county to go back to the city. Why? Because in the county they were having blackouts. So the utilities weren't as good as being in the city, right? Flooding. So they didn't have the sewer systems like they have in the city. Public transportation, so you don't have to buy a car, right? Just little things like that. When the internet was starting to come up, they didn't have the best signals like they did in the city. Not just for Wi-Fi, but just even in the hardwire, they had to redo all of that stuff, right? They had to lay all the lines and the fiber optics and all the other everything that was happening during technology that they didn't want, or they didn't have the best access to. They didn't have the best of, but it was better in the city. So the people that were in Philadelphia that were on Section 8 or, getting assistance or whatever. So they're thinking they're going to go out to the suburbs, have peace, and their kids would get a better education. They'll have parks and stuff, because everybody know the difference between the suburbs and the city, in the school districts, in the schools, in the school properties, right? In the suburbs, they got big old fields, football fields, baseball fields, soccer field. In the city, you might have one field for everything, right? And it's not up to par, right? So, black people had this this illusion that things were going to get better once they go to the suburbs, but that wasn't the case, because in the counties out in Pennsylvania, they have their own laws, because it's a commonwealth state. So they just make things up as they go. They make up the law as they go. They don't even abide by their own laws, right? And going back even further than that, black people weren't even allowed in specific counties like Delaware County or Montgomery County. If you went out there, you were assaulted. You experienced the worst racism, right? Systemic racism at its best in those counties, right? Delaware County, Montgomery County, Chester County. You know what I'm saying? So all they did was set their sons up and their daughters up for felonies. Especially like the first people that was migrating out there. It wasn't the same as being in the city. You couldn't just walk around in the street and all that without being harassed. Right? They didn't want you out there. People would be scared to go to Delaware County, black people at a time. But when they came out with this new agenda and all the white people was migrating back to the city, buying up all that cheap housing where houses were costing maybe about $20,000, $40,000 for 2-3 story houses. Right? 40, 50,000. Now in those same houses are $500,000 to live in. $1 million. Certain neighborhoods run down. We called it the bottom. The bottom, nothing but broken down houses. Now they cost you $250,000 to live in the bottom, where people would never wanted to live, where you could go buy a shell of a house for maybe $2,000 or $3,000. Right? Now to live in that neighborhood, you need $250,000. And they sent them out to the suburbs, where they're not getting the education. My nieces and nephews went to school out there. All the good teachers were leaving. All the white teachers were leaving. All the good teachers, I'm not saying that the white teachers was the good teachers. I'm just saying the good teachers were leaving. They had a whole agenda. They weren't learning anything. They never came home with homework. But in the city, you were having charter schools, privately funded schools. You know what I'm saying? By people, black people that were invested in educating the children, the community. So they didn't see the trade-off that was coming. Now all the people that were once in projects, because they started bringing down the projects, destroying them, because in the cities like in New York and Philadelphia, the projects were high tower buildings, 20 something floors or more, right? And you know why they didn't want that? Because if it was ever going to be some kind of civil war or race war or whatever, and black people came together, they had the advantage point. You couldn't just come into the projects if black people was banded together and have the roof advantage, have the high ground advantage to shoot downwards, right? Think about it. Think how deep that is, right? I'm telling y'all something that I've been saying for years, and I watched it unfold in front of my eyes. So they got away with the projects, sent them to the suburbs in a systemic racism area, county, where their rights would just be infringed upon, stepped on, violated extensively. So it was this agenda was playing out in front of my eyes. And I was a victim of that agenda, the injustices, and I was working. But they labeled me a drug dealer for just having a little less than a half an ounce of weed with a handheld scale. Why did I have a scale? Because I was a smoker. I'm still in, but I was a smoker, right? So I wanted to make sure what I was purchasing was the right weight. But I wasn't allowed to have these things, even though I had paychecks in my car. Even though I wasn't allowed to have the car that I have. I wasn't supposed to be in that area. This is before it became Little Philadelphia or the projects. Right? A couple years before what it is now, today. And now if you go riding through the streets of Philadelphia areas where it was nothing but black people, now there's nothing but white people. They reformed all the neighborhoods, right? 52nd Street don't look like the 52nd Street that I grew up on. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But I'm saying the agenda behind it and how they did it. You know what I'm saying? How they did it and how people didn't see the truth behind that. It wasn't just gentrification. It's not just that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just gentrification. It was a plan to have these black people come there and all of them receive some kind of blemish on their record. Starting, as teenagers, as children. So you're starting out with misdemeanors and felonies. You would see it all the time. How the cops would roll up on people. They didn't even have black people on the force. So they thought they were getting a better life, but they traded their freedom that they had in the city. They traded real community in the city, because at least in the legal system, you had to deal with black people. But when they went to the county, they didn't deal with black people no more. They dealt with racist DAs and racist judges. Believe me. And those houses that were in Upper Darby, when they first came in there, they want 80,000. 80,000? I don't know what the worth is out there now. But they had Section 8 and all that, so what? The state paying for it. But you gave up your $250,000, $500,000 house. And a lot of people that own their houses, hey, they came up. Not knocking them. Not knocking them at all. But they left the city. They left the advantages. They left the perks that they didn't even know or understand that they had, the advantages of being in the city. Another topic I was, been pondering is the disrespect that is going on between the man and the woman. It's crazy. I keep seeing my brothers being hurt and disrespected by women that they love and that they would sacrifice, that they would give everything for, they provide, that they work for, break their backs for, and they're not being respected. They're not being appreciated for what they give and what they do. They're not being appreciated for their restraint. And that's something very serious that you women need to understand. A man's restraint. And this disconnect is just so horrible. I know a guy, he works his butt off for his wife. And most of her children are not his. He only got one child with her. And he raised all her kids. And he has no peace at home. He has no love, no affection, no appreciation. And she'll jump and do anything for her kids. But when it comes to her husband, he doesn't deserve it. That's what she'll say to him. You don't deserve it. And he raised all her children from being babies up to adulthood and still taking care of them because of her. Because they ain't got it right. They come and go. They mess up on their life. They go home to mommy. And who's taking care? Who's paying the rent? Who's buying the food? And he can't get any affection. He can't get no love, no appreciation. There's no passion there. There's always a fight for his peace. A fight to love her. It's crazy, right? I found myself in that situation, fighting to love somebody, to want to give them love, until I woke up. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Why should I have to fight you to love you? You're not the one. You don't appreciate what I do? I have to deserve something that you would give to somebody else so freely? I got to jump through a hoop when somebody else after me never had to. And I've been there, the one holding you down, supporting you, protecting you. And this thing that we do with protection, they want to call it control. Narcissism. When true men know what they're supposed to do: guide, protect, teach, cultivate, provide for, right? That's in us. There's no getting around it. That's what we do. That's what real men do. Nobody has to tell a man to provide, to protect, to give, to love. It's already in us. We are love. If you are the spirit of God, right? Then you love. Why is it so hard to be respected by women? When you first got with them, they respected you. You may have hurt their feelings a couple times, but why does the respect disappear? Where's the love, appreciation? But when they mess up, we be right there. It's okay. Let's move past it. But when we mess up, they hold it for how long? Yes, they're incubators, right? They internalize everything. But aren't there supposed to be a time when you give birth to that and release it, right? Huh. Huh. The Antichrist spirit is taking over the mind of the woman like he did from when? The beginning of time, right? Since the garden. The broken homes is crazy, right? Broken relationships. Are there any relationships anymore? Are there couples anymore? When I see couples, I smile. When I see couples that are in love, are holding hands, or are touching or kissing, I smile. When I see them together, when I see them looking each other eyes, I smile. Because I want that. I always did. Because that's how I always gave it. To the fullest. All or nothing. And most of us men are like that. And the women that we pick, we see something in y'all, and then y'all flip the script on us. I got plenty homeboys that keep going through this same kind of cycle of toxicity with their woman, trying to love them. And I'm not saying that we don't bring it upon ourselves when we cheat, when we ain't got our minds right, and we ain't make up our mind that this is the woman when we gonna love her right, and we gonna be with this woman here, that's the only one. We go through that. We change from boys to men. And only good women, women of God, can see when that change happens. Are aware when it happens. The difference and the change in the mindset and in the heart. And they don't fight you anymore. There is no longer a fight. There shouldn't be. And if she continues to fight you, it's the wrong woman. I read it in scripture. Right? Yes, God hates divorce. He hates the separation between the woman and the man. Because that's the end of the human race. That's the end of human beings. The disconnect between the woman and the man. Go to a club, a party. You see the women dancing with each other and the men standing around watching. I grew up, you come to a party, you looking for who you trying to get with tonight. Not even in a sexual way, but to party with, dance with, have your slow drags with. You know what I'm saying? When you turn off the lights, turn on the red light or the purple light, the black light. You had about 10 fast songs, but you had at least 2 slow songs coming on so you can get close. They don't do that no more. Where's the slow drag at? Check out my music. Most of my stuff is at a slower tempo. Why? Because that's the beat of my heart. That's my feelings. That's my emotions. That's my rhythm, my sound. And it's slow. It's love. It's passion. It's sensual. But it's also praise and worship. Filled with all kinds of goodness and love and emotion and the emotions. Take you on a ride. Eventually, I want to produce something that will make the world cry. Because the world needs to cry right now. That's the only way we're going to find our way back to each other. Everybody's so strong, so self-aware. I don't know, how can you be self-aware and not be aware of everybody else? Not understand that we are all connected. And for all you gym fitness fools thinking that's all you need to do, work out your problems and trauma and emotional issues in the gym, but no self-reflection, no spiritual connection, spiritual correction and spiritual connection. Where is it? Where's the spiritual elevation? You only want to work on your body to look good, but that means nothing. Scripture say it. Yeah, that's all working out. Working out is all right. Exercise for the body, that's good. It's not a bad thing. But what's more important? Your connection with God, right? Because you can only be healed from the inside out. If you only working out your body, you only outwardly making yourself look good. I see it all the time. These guys, you want to get over the girl, you want to show her what she's missing out on. Go to the gym, get your body right, smash all the girls and all. For what? What is that going to do? That's not healing you. It's just making you worse, because now you're taking on all these different spirits and soul ties, making all these soul ties, right? And all these spirits, you don't even know who they messing with, right? There's no loyalty, there's no tolerance, there's no patience. There's no compromise. No forgiveness. A bunch of quitters that think they winners. No love. All pain, all hurt, all trauma. Because they don't want to take the time to sit alone. They don't want to take the time to feel what they're feeling and move through it. Reflect on it. Why? Go back to your childhood. Everybody want to go to therapy. Oh, you need therapy. You need therapy. No, you don't. You need to spend some time in a room by yourself. No TV, no phone, no music. No other person. Just you by yourself and God. Listening to hear what he has to say and what it is you need to learn about yourself, about the things that have shaped you. And once you start excavating this stuff within yourself, digging it up, unearthing it, uprooting it, not denying it, not running from it, not fearing it, but accepting it, understanding you. Then you can understand those people around you. Our leaders in this country have failed us. They led us away from God, not to God, but away from him. Greed everywhere you look. Look at the price of food. Look at the cost of living versus income. It's supposed to be United States, but every state is different. Where's the unity? That's a lie right there. How can they call this country great and there's no unity? You can buy weed in Jersey, Pennsylvania, but not in Maryland, not in Virginia, not in North Carolina, not in South Carolina. You can go to jail there. But it's different somewhere else. What about working a job? Say if you work at McDonald's, New York, what? You probably making what, $20 an hour? Go somewhere down south. They still trying to pay you $8 an hour. For the same job that they doing in the same country, different state. And they got all this bull crap of cost of living. Why? Why shouldn't the cost of living be the same across the country? Isn't it enough money floating around in this country? Digital binary ones and zeros. They can make ones and zeros whenever they want to. The way that the human condition is now, it's crazy because we don't have leaders that worship God, worship Yahweh. The Antichrist spirit is definitely in control. Homosexuality, rampant, brought down every kingdom. Deconstruction of the family. The women out of the house. First they took the man out of the house, especially black men. But they put them in prison. The white men got jobs. Now the black women get the job over the man. Division, all this Willie Lynch psychology. Psychology has been nothing but a destruction to this nation. Has been nothing but destruction. Probing the mind. Programming. You got men that think they women and women that think they men. They're so delusional, they really believe what they're saying. They say real women aren't women. Are you serious? Are you serious? They just carriers, huh? Carriers of what? Life. I just seen something on YouTube today. Came across I was going scrolling through shorts, and this woman was talking about how in different countries where the land is fertile, so fertile, and the fruits and the life that it creates from its fertility, and it's the food is alive, is life, has a whole completely different taste than anything that you can find in the United States. Go buy an orange. Look at what an orange looks like nowadays. When I was growing up, oranges didn't look like that. They didn't taste like now. Even if you think it's fresh, it's still dry and dead. Why? Not just because of the damage we're doing to the land with all the poisons and the chemicals, all the building, all the plastic. That's because we live in a nation where there is no God. It's a godless nation. So of course, he's going to bring destruction on the land. They cultivate and cultivate and cultivate. But he had laws in place to let the land rest, to reheal, to replenish itself. To take what you got and to share it amongst the people, the poor. There's no giving back. It's only greed. The earth is dying. Why? For money. What good is money if you don't have a planet to live on, an atmosphere to thrive in, the air quality, no water, no, the land produces garbage, trash. Wasteful on the meats. And now they're making lab meat. Why? Because they didn't never let the animals have a time to replenish. Just greed, just keep killing, just keep making money. You work in these restaurants and stuff, what? They make food. Oh, if it is sit too long, throw it away. When there's somebody out on the street that needs to eat, throw it away. Employee may be hungry. They don't want him to eat. Throw it away so we can deduct it as a loss and get our money back. Right? Are people really paying attention what's going on in this country? The viciousness, the evil behind the scenes. Huh? Because I am, and I always have. The human race is on its last legs, and they don't even see it. We're killing each other. There's no love. You got people that ain't even on the level of the powers that be that are helping them destroy other people, and they know it. I'm going to go back to the management companies and the slumlords, right? The property management companies, they are the middleman for the rich. They don't upkeep the properties. They're just getting paid. Let's go to the pharmaceutical companies. They know what they're doing. And the people that work there in all the different departments that are helping that company thrive when they know what their drugs are doing to the public, to the people. So we're destroying ourselves for money, for comforts, for that job title, for that home, that car. Because that's what success is. That's what status is. Nobody cares about the next person as long as I get paid, as long as my check is coming. It's not a problem until it's your child, right? Especially with, let's go to domestic abuse. When you have a woman that's going through something with her man, this is why I don't get into issues with couples, right? Never been that type of guy to jump in there except with my mom, right? But even in that, they always make up and go back, right? But you got women that get into these altercations with their mouth and their disrespect. And they call up their brother, cousin, whoever, to check, hurt another brother, man. Jeopardize whatever he may be have going on. He may have a family. And he think he's doing right by standing up for you. He might wind up going to jail, getting killed, hurt, to come to your protection. And then she winds up right back with that person. Brothers killing other brothers. But if it was that person in that same situation, would you want that person to call somebody on you? Would you think that you are in the right or the wrong for defending yourself? Which one would you be? How many brothers are men? How many men are in prison? How many men have been killed because of that phone call? Such and such hit me, and he may not even have hit her. And even if he did, in your relationship, would you want somebody to come in between you and your woman to try to correct you and don't know what the hell's going on? I'm tired of these dudes trying to say, oh, protect the women and your men are supposed to stand up and do this and do that. No, you're supposed to mind your own damn business and tend to your relationship. It's different if they are abusing them. But what about if you know that woman, the person that's coming to their rescue, if you know them, you know who they are. You know exactly who they are. You know their exaggerations, you know their lies, and you know their mouth. Right? You wouldn't want to be provoked like that. So why are you jumping on somebody else? You wouldn't want that to happen to you. Why are you jumping in it? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing for you to protect the ones you love. But I'm saying be smart about it. Be wise about it. Ask questions. Don't just come in guns blazing and you don't know the truth. and look at the people that is calling. You should know that person. You know who they are. Is she a troublemaker? If this is what she do, you always coming to her rescue. It could be a different man. You done did it with the last 5, 10 boyfriends. And you still jumping up to make yourself feel like what? A man? An alpha, a protector? Or are you a fool? So men don't have a right to protect themselves? We don't have the right to react to disrespect only to men. But women are not supposed to respect the restraint. If you know, no woman can beat a man. So why would you talk to him crazy? Why would you provoke him? If that's the man you love. Because women have a problem with submission and respect, right? Because it's been programmed that way. Look at the TV. Look at the movies. You got a big man, 400 or 500 pounds, beating up everybody. And then some 98-pound woman come and kicks his ass. Get out of here. But all the men he was fighting, he whooped. But here come this little woman and take him out. The spirit of the Antichrist. The Jezebel spirit. Right? We have a divine order for a reason. I was watching something, and they was going back with how the women were. There was a woman ruler, and how she started making the men dress like women. You know, because she was in control. And she didn't want to be called a queen. She wanted to be king. And the atrocities that went on under her rule. The dysfunction. I love women. But I think there's a role. There is a place that is being disregarded. There's a boundary where she must remain in. There's divine order to this thing. There's rules to this shit. Straight up. For success, for happiness, for peace, for the human race to thrive. And it's out of control. And they say men have all the power. No, they don't. Because the people that are in power, the men that are in power, trying to still please their women. That's why certain laws and things are in place. How they are. That's why everything that where there was control and there was order has unraveled. Because the men weren't men. They were appeasing the woman. They didn't stand firm in their stance to keep that control. Let's take control out. Order. Order. Everything is out of order. Don't you think? I do. Greed. Mindset. The whole mindset of humanity is just disrupted, out of order, messed up. Sinking. One more thought I have. The mob. Been saying this for years. Look at all the documentaries, right? Lucky Luciano, right? Wise beyond his years. Because he told them, we're not no longer going to be gangsters, these thugs. We're going to take over the real power. We're going to be the politicians. We're going to be the lawyers. We're going to be the judges. We're going to be the police. We're going to be the corporations. You want to know who's running America now? The mob. Look at it. It's extortion at its best. Don't believe me? Check and see how many politicians are Italian, Irish, these fake Jews. They're a mob. And what did those mob people do? What was their whole thing? To stay in secrecy, right? And nobody wanted the nigga to have a part of the pie. And we still see that today. Look how many rich black people, wealthy black people there are in the United States, and we own nothing. Nothing. Nope. Black owned record labels, distribution, media, broadcasting stations. Oprah Winfrey? What? Do people even watch her channel? Only one. Do we have black owned banks? Do we have our own Black Wall Street? Do we have any real communities that are all black besides Atlanta? Where the dollar is staying in the community? Besides there. And they'll take it away from you whenever they want, if you ain't speaking the right thing. How many people are actually standing up against it? It's starting to happen. People like Kanye. I respect that brother. At first, I didn't understand what the hell was going on with him until I started listening to what he was saying and not what was being said about him. He's the only one that's doing what he's supposed to be doing in his position of power, influence, and wealth. Speaking out against the injustices. Speaking out against this programming to keep the people down. It's not black power. It's not white power. It's we, the people. Power to the people. That's why they took out the Black Panthers. That's why they were such a threat. Because their biggest intimidation was to feed the youth before school so they can learn. They didn't want that. It wasn't about them guns. No. It was about feeding the youth. protecting your neighborhood, patrolling your own neighborhood. And what brought that down? Money. Infiltrated by their own people for money. Because they believed the lies, or they didn't care, or they just they needed the money. They needed it to eat. When they flooded the communities with drugs. Money. There's no more community when it comes to money. It's either you have the money or you don't. And you gatekeep who can get money. I know my thoughts have been all over the place, but I'm pretty sure y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. And the topics that I brought up, I want y'all to think about them, man. Because these things are deep thoughts for me. And I want to share them. Provoke thought in you. Instead of being in the rat race in your everyday routine. Really see what's going on. And where we're headed as a race, as a whole. How long they been trying to get to the moon? They never made it to the damn moon. Trust me, they never made it to the moon. Because if they did, don't you think they would have been back since the 60s? Come on. Trillions and trillions of dollars. But people can't eat. Education costs what it costs. When it should be free. Freely shared. Housing costs what it costs. Why? Why? I didn't ask to be born. So I gotta work till I die to keep a roof over my head? While I watch people in power and people with wealth unwisely, greedily try to achieve something that's not meant to be achieved. And it's across the world. Every nation has a space program. Why? Why? When you have citizens starving, hurting, why is healthcare not free? Why did people go to medical school just to make money? I thought to be a doctor, you have to have a desire to heal. But you only going to do a surgery or save a life if they got the funding for it? The mentality is crazy. It's crazy. The separation, the hurt that we cause each other is sickening. It truly is. It hurts. So how do we get it right? How do we make it right, man? How do we make it right? It starts within. Each individual, it starts with one One, one, one. One God. One voice. One spirit. One love. One people. How do we get back there? How do we live beyond the holograph, the matrix, the programming, the illusions of government and power and money and what life is supposed to be? Because if you think you were created to live this life that we're living, you better wake up. If you think you were born to be have a PhD, and make money, you better wake up. If you think you're supposed to walk this life alone, you better wake up. No man is an island. It's not good for man to be alone. Success, money, power, but no peace. You can't sleep. You have no affection. You have no connections. But you got pride and ego over stuff that you accumulate and think you better than somebody else. My brothers and sisters, family, wake up. Seek him. Take the journey within to discover him and yourself. You are God. You are God. Wake up. So I'm going to leave you with the question I always leave you with. Where is the love? Especially between the woman and the man. And what are you willing to do to fix it? Our world is dying. Scripture said if the people who are called by my name will repent from their evil ways and return to me, I will heal their land. And I'm not just talking about America, I'm talking about the world. When are we going to stop fighting? When? When are you going to stop fighting against yourself? WiseDuality. Peace, love, and light.